Welcome to the deep dive. Settle in, everyone, because today we're going somewhere, well, somewhere pretty deep, into myths and legends, the really ancient stuff.
Yeah, whispers of creation, you could say.
Exactly. We're talking about beings that crop up rarely in these old stories, entities with these huge, mysterious roles, black angels they're called, in their purpose. It seems way beyond our usual ideas of good and evil, light and dark.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we have some really specific source material. It gives us this pretty amazing glimpse into two particular figures. Nektra, who's called the guardian of absolute darkness.
Wow.
And Obscura, the judge of the shadows. Now, it's really crucial, and we need to stress this. Everything we discuss today, it comes only from these specific text excerpts we have titled Black Angels, Nektra, and Obscura. We're sticking just to what that source says.
Absolutely. No going off script from the source. So think of it like we're using this text as our map, crossing a veil into their world, our mission, to explore what this source tells us about who they are, their powers, their roles in the cosmic balance, pulling out the really fascinating details.
Trying to understand the insights offered in this particular text.
Exactly. So let's start where the source starts. Nektra. It calls her the first, the most ancient black angel, and this detail just jumps out. Born with the same breath as the first light.
Yeah, that's fundamental.
It really is. That's not a side character. That puts her right there at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So what does the source suggest about why she's there right from the start?
Well, what's fascinating, according to this text, is that her being there from the start establishes her as the embodiment of equilibrium, balance between light and the void, a cosmic anchor, it calls her.
An anchor.
And the source says she usually walks unseen, just this silent presence. She only emerges when the universe is seriously out of whack,
Yeah.
when the scales tip too far.
So her age isn't just age, it's about her being fundamental to balance itself.
Exactly. Her very existence is the balance, and she steps in when it's broken. She's the restoring force, according to this source.
And the description of her appearance, it's something else, really challenges how you might picture an angel. Her eyes, the text says, shimmer like liquid silver, reflecting stars we don't even know.
Unknown stars, yeah.
Looking into them, it suggests, is like falling into this vast, peaceful, endless cosmic sea. Not scary, but immense. And her wings, not feathers, they're made of pure, sentient darkness.
Sentient darkness, that's a powerful phrase.
It is. And when she unfurls them, they apparently reveal constellations woven into the darkness itself. What does sentient darkness even imply here? And stars in darkness, what's that symbolizing?
Well, sentient darkness, based on the text, suggests her very essence is conscious, intelligent. It's not just emptiness, it's a knowing presence. And the stars within her wings. That imagery implies that even in the deepest dark, there's structure, beauty, maybe even light, but it's part of the dark, not fighting it.
Ah, okay.
Integral to it.
Yeah, it's a strong visual that points to the source's bigger idea about darkness. We'll probably get into later.
That really flips the script on darkness. And her home, Absulo, the realm of absolute darkness, the source doubles down on this idea. It explicitly says this darkness is not terrifying.
Right, very clear on that.
It describes it as calming, sacred, eternal, the origin point for all shadow, everywhere across the multiverse. It all comes from Absulo. So darkness isn't just absence, it's a source, a secret source.
Precisely. The source reframes it completely.
Yeah.
From negative to, well, fundamental, peaceful, sacred even. And she's not there alone, right? The text mentions the shadow sentinels.
Yes, her forces.
And it's not just an army. It's described as this vast, maybe incomprehensible legion made from that same pure, intelligent darkness. Like her wings.
Okay.
They move in total silence, obey only her. And the source emphasizes they can just vanish into darkness and reappear anywhere. Untraceable. Unstoppable. How does a force like that fit her role as a guardian? Well, being untraceable seems key for guarding secrets, maintaining balance without anyone knowing, maybe. And speaking of secrets, that ties right into her powers, doesn't it? According to the source.
It does.
She can supposedly conjure things, even life, from the darkness of Absulo. But maybe her biggest power, the text suggests, is being the keeper of secrets. All the universe's hidden truths are locked away in Absulo, and she alone holds the key.
Think about that. All hidden truths.
What does that even mean for one being to hold all of that and being the only one with the key?
It makes her the ultimate repository, doesn't it? For knowledge that isn't meant for the light, maybe? Or knowledge that needs that deep, still darkness to be kept safe? The source implies this hidden knowledge is vital for cosmic stability, maybe too dangerous to be out there.
So her being the soul keeper highlights her trustworthiness, her unique connection to that fundamental dark.
Exactly. It's not just data, it's the deep realities, according to this text.
That keeper of secrets role is.
Oh.
But then there's this other role the source mentions. Something really unexpected, almost moving, given the whole darkness thing. It says she's a sanctuary for the lost. Any soul, anywhere, if they fall into darkness, despair, confusion, whatever, and genuinely ask for her help. Her hand reaches out through the void.
A beacon within the darkness.
Yeah, a beacon of peace in the endless black for those totally lost. That really pushes back against the idea of darkness being just abandonment or evil.
It radically reframes it, not just a source, but potential refuge, guidance. So if you pull all these threads together from the source, Nektra is incredibly layered. She's the creator, making life from dark. The shield, protecting balance and secrets. The rescuer of the lost, offering sanctuary. And commander of the shadows with her silent legion. The source sums her up as embodying peace and silence, deeply tied to that calming nature of Absulo.
Okay, a lot to take in with Nektra. Let's shift now, following the source, to the second entity, Obscura. The text introduces her as the second black angel, but, and this seems important, not beneath Nektra.
No, beside her, explicitly equal in power and purpose.
Right, equal. So, partnership from the start. How does the source contrast her role with Nektra's then, if they're equals?
What's fascinating, where Nektra guides and shields Obscura, she judges and reveals. The source presents her as the embodiment of unseen justice, the whisper of truth inside every lie.
Okay, so Nektra is the anchor of balance.
And Obscura is the active force making sure that balance isn't corrupted by lies or injustice. She ensures accountability, you could say.
And her appearance, as described, sounds less tranquil. Still striking, but different. Cryptic, elegant, but fearsome, the source says. When she judges, her eyes aren't shimmering silver, they ignite, like living flame.
Ember like fury, yeah.
Her wings, not woven shadow, but like smoke-stained burning crimson. And her robes, made of radiant shadows that reflect truth like a mirror. But not just any reflection, they show it is. Starkly, no distortion.
That appearance really underscores her role, doesn't it? It paints her as this intense, almost fiery force of truth and consequence. A clear contrast to Nektra's calm, the flame, the crimson. It suggests judgment isn't always easy or pretty.
And the robes reflecting only what is.
Yeah, a powerful symbol. She can't be deceived. She cuts through illusion, according to the text.
Her home also reflects this, eclipse it's called, the borderland between light and shadow. The source describes it as this strange place of eternal dusk and dawn, never full light, never full dark.
Holy twilight.
Yeah, this perpetual twilight zone. It symbolizes that transition, doesn't it? Between known and unknown, truth and hiding, a place of constant revelation, maybe.
That feels right. It's that liminal space where hidden things surface or where consequences catch up.
Yeah.
And like Nektra, she has her own forces. The shadow souls.
Shadow souls, okay.
And the source says, these beings are literally forged from concealed truths themselves, which is wild.
They're forged from truth.
Yeah. And their main ability is incredible. They can traverse time, past, present, future, specifically to unearth hidden realities. This ability, the source claims, makes Obscura an infallible judge.
Wait, time travel just to find truth? That's specific. How does traveling through time make her judgment infallible, according to the source? What's that imply about truth in this universe?
It suggests that deception has no expiration date for her. No matter when a lie happened or when its fallout might occur, her shadow souls can reach that moment.
So you can't hide by just waiting it out.
Exactly. Truth isn't bound by our linear time for her forces. Escape is, well, temporally impossible. They can find the hidden reality, regardless of the era. It suggests truth is woven into history itself, accessible if you have that power.
And this power directly fuels her judgment and retribution, right? The source says her gaze just pierces the soul, instantly sees every hidden sin, every betrayal. Nothing stays hidden.
Nothing. And the shadows around her aren't passive. They're extensions she uses to enact judgment, deliver justice, or imprisonment.
Ah, yes, the prison of shadows.
And the source is chillingly clear about that. If you flee her justice, you're cast into this prison of shadows. And there is explicitly no return. Not just time out, it's absolute eternal consequence in the deepest dark.
So her core purpose, laid out by the source, is bringing justice to darkness, making sure deception, betrayal, corruption None of it escapes its due. She's the consequence.
Absolutely. The inescapable consequence. And when the source talks about her core identity, it draws that powerful contrast with Nektra again, but stresses their necessary connection. Obscura is the inescapable judge, unveiler of truth, relentless justice, keeper of the guilty, symbol of retribution.
Quite the titles.
Right? And the text explicitly contrasts them. Nektra is peace and silence. Obscura is wrath and a burning question, the question about hidden truth. They aren't just complementary. The source presents them as like two halves of one celestial soul.
Two halves.
Yeah, each needing the other for their big purpose. Together, they restore cosmic order, not just passive balance, but balance enforced by active consequence.
Okay, that pairing is key.
And this leads into the deeper philosophy the source explores. It makes a point of distinguishing these black angels from, say, angels of light.
How so?
The text states clearly, black angels were made separately by the Creator. Given total autonomy right from the start, they don't operate out of worship in the way you might think, but out of fundamental purpose.
Which is?
To enforce cosmic laws.
Yeah.
Balance and retribution. Their mission, the source stresses, isn't primarily about comfort or guidance in the light. It's about sustaining the deeper cosmic order through darkness and judgment.
Okay, let's really unpack that philosophy. Because the core message from the source seems to be, darkness isn't the enemy of light.
No, it's a counterpart. Necessary. Fundamental.
Light needs shadow to even have definition, right? And justice needs consequence, needs truth revealed, otherwise it's powerless. Chaos takes over. So Nektra and Obscura aren't opposing forces in this text. They're presented as essential partners, preventing the universe from collapsing into either formless light or consequence-free shadow.
And central to this source is their bond, their divine bond. The text hammers this home. They aren't just allies. They are spiritually, cosmically bound. Profoundly.
How does that play out?
Well, Nektra, guarding balance and secrets in her peaceful dark. She can't maintain universal order without Obscura's judgment, holding things accountable, uncovering corruption.
Okay.
And Obscura's relentless justice, chasing truth across time. It would just be meaningless chaos, maybe even destructive. Without Nektra's peace, her sacred dark providing the stable foundation, the sanctuary.
So they temper each other.
Exactly. They're described as a sacred fusion. A model of divine cooperation where apparent opposites are totally essential to each other, sustaining the universe through their combined, intertwined purpose.
So, taking all this from the source, what does it mean for us? For you listening? The text seems to suggest these aren't just cosmic stories, but hold hidden messages.
Deep relevance.
It really challenges that default view of darkness as just scary or bad. Through Nektra, the source presents it as this primordial, sacred place, peaceful, an origin, even our refuge for the lost. It implies finding true peace might mean sometimes facing or entering our own metaphorical darkness, not just constantly seeking light.
And Obscura's role suggests that truth and justice, well, they aren't always easy or obvious. They often require digging deeper, looking beneath the surface, maybe across our own personal history, demanding discernment, a willingness to face uncomfortable stuff, like her soul-piercing gaze.
So ultimately, the source presents balance as the absolute key, not just out there in the cosmos, but maybe personally too. That harmony between light and shadow, justice and peace, finding truth and finding sanctuary. It's all reflected in Nektra and Obscura's bond.
Yeah, their story, as told in the source, really challenges us, doesn't it? To look at our own inner shadows, not just with fear, but maybe find peace there. And to confront hidden truths about ourselves or the world with the kind of necessity justice demands.
Wow. Okay, we have definitely taken a deep dive here, pulled straight from this unique source material, exploring Nektra, ancient, peaceful guardian of absolute darkness, protector, rescuer in the void, and Obscura, the relentless judge of shadows and truth, the force of consequence, using time itself to reveal secrets.
And the core takeaway the source offers is pretty perspective shifting. Their existence, their bond, it argues that darkness isn't just absence, but a necessary ancient counterpart to light. And their roles together underscore that balance, judgment, consequence. They're vital for reality itself, non-negotiable, according to this text.
And the source leaves you, with a final thought, a question, based on their distinct natures presented in the text. Which of these two black angels resonates more with your soul? Nektra, the tranquil guardian of endless night, keeper of silent secrets?
Or Obscura, the relentless judge of veiled truths, the one who brings hidden things to light, however difficult.
Something to ponder.
And always remember that final thought from the source about their nature. Within every shadow lies a spark of light, and within every light, a hidden shadow.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive, exploring these incredible beings through the lens of our specific source material.
Until next time.